Well, hi guys, it's me again. It's been a while since I uploaded a video. I'm at Ishiban's new shop, which is huge, absolutely massive, and I'm here to show you this. It's not finished yet, but there's your 1UZ with a Eaton or Harrop 1900 supercharger, 11 psi. It's got the hose here is a little bit close, but you have to hear this. Okay, this is crazy. Now it's not all together yet. All right, it's still a work in progress. But you know, I've still got my lovely seats and still got my M3 wheel. Okay, get ready for this. There was a event with the expat car group we have here in Thailand, and they all brought their special cars. I should have done a video, but I didn't. And everyone's ran off their cars, and yeah, she won. Top Gun won because it's insane. Now I have driven it. It's not safe to really drive at the moment because the alignment's off, steering wheel's not right. There's a few niggling little things, but I did take it for a drive, and oh my god, it is just crazy because it's a supercharger, and it just puts down whatever you ask of it. It delivers. So not like a turbo where the boost just kind of kicks in randomly even if you don't want to. It's completely linear. But when you put your foot down on this thing, it just leaves 11 o'clock everywhere. And the beautiful thing about the E30, and this one in particular, is the LSD that I have. You're just in full control. I mean, and an E30 is such a beautiful car to drive. They're very communicative. I don't know the word. They communicate to you. You know what it's doing. You can feel everything. And so you're in full control the whole time, even when it's sliding. And you put your foot down and just go, wow! It just goes nuts. And it's just sliding or skidding in a straight line. But you're just in full control. Even with the steering that's a little bit off at the moment. But you're just in full control. It's amazing. But the way it delivers power, you ask for 20%, you get 20%. You ask 50%, you get 50%. You ask for 100%, and you just hold on for your life. I love superchargers, and of course this is the 5th generation Eaton. And if I get right up close here, yeah, it's a Harrop, but if you look closer, yeah, it's an Eaton. Now this is the same supercharger that comes on the Camaro ZL1. And I believe the Corvette uses the slightly bigger one, but yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy, and it just drives so well. And even though we've got, so here's the bad news, right? And I'm going to give this a little bit of education for you guys about the 1UZs. There are 2 of the old school 1UZs. Now, the bulk of the old 1UZs are non-VVTi. They have big, thick rods, and they're indestructible. Now, I always assumed that's what I had, but for 1 year, they made a model just before they went VVTi, and it was in 1994, I believe, that had thin rods. Now, it's almost impossible to tell what you got, but we found out how. This fuel rail, if I get right in there, it's round, okay? If you've got a round rail, that is a fin rod. If you've got a square rail, you have got the thick rod. And so here's the problem. Because I got a fin rod and I've got this giant supercharger of 11 psi, it's very dangerous. I mean, it will blow the engine. So when they tuned it, I mean, it should have been 400 wheel or above, but couldn't because of the rods. So we had to retard the ignition so much that literally it sparks as the piston's starting to go down. And yet, despite all that, it's just still so freaking fast. It's just amazing. It really is, and it drives beautifully. I mean, I've got the Bilstein B12s on it. I mean, you can't really see, but I swear by Bilstein. I really do. It feels like a cushion in comparison to the RX-8. And I just can't wait to finish up and get everything all nice and buttoned down. Because, you know, despite the fact this car being 35 years old, it just drives amazingly. It's just a fantastic car. And, you know, I don't do things by half. I mean, I've got a ridiculous radiator set up for cooling. It runs an E85, not for power, but for cooling, because there's no intercooler. And even though the 5th gen is like 30-40% colder than is the previous generation here, this is the 4th gen, which I believe is from the Ford. It's much colder than that. And Thailand's very hot. And, you know, intake temps, you know, lowers power, and also it puts more stress on the engine. So yeah, I had to switch to E85 just for the sake of reliability, safety. Unfortunately, it means it drinks more fuel, but hey, you know, I'm saving polar bears, so there's always that. Gotta love those polar bears. And, you know, we've got the fuel pressure regulator and some little extras here. I mean, the guy's done a beautiful job, real beautiful job. I mean, they've had to fix a lot of things that were done by the previous guy, and they're really doing a great job of just chasing down all the weird stuff that guy did to him. I mean, at one point there was zip ties on the throttle. It was just, I don't even want to talk about it. This, I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, this is the Dirty 30, the one, and I love it. You know, I've got the M3 Evo wing, got the M3 skirts, MTEC 2 body kit, and that lovely golden paint. The hood's away because the snout or the pulley here, it basically hits the hood. So even though I modified the hood for a supercharger, I modified it in a way that it was higher here, and I didn't take into consideration that. So whoops. So waiting for that to come back. Just a few other little things to tie up. Interior, steering, a few little electrical things. It's running off a HKS FCON Gold standalone, and it's doing a very good job. It stops very well, thankfully, because I did upgrade the brakes, which you all know about anyway. I don't know if you can see behind there. I think they're 280 something. And despite being on kind of, you know, regular sports tyres, Hankook V12s, yeah, does a good job. Does a good job. It's a great car, even a great daily. Anyway, so that's the E30, how it is now. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. 90% of you guys aren't subscribed, so I'd appreciate it. You know, please just click the button. I'd appreciate it a lot. I just had a baby. I sound like I'm begging. So yeah, I'd appreciate it a lot. All right, guys.